Oof. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live and active here on the Paranormal Portal. It's Friday night, which is always a wonderful night. I think everybody agrees. It's the beginning of the weekend. What's not to love and to know that so many of you are coming in to join me right here on the Paranormal Portal is amazing. As always, thank you so much. And thank you to the members that showed up last night for the member stream. That was a lot of fun. Had some behind-the-scenes talks about the development of the Paranormal Portal and such. It was really cool. It was a great time. I enjoy those as well. I mean, I love doing these streams as well. It's just a different kind of situation. So, but thank you to everybody that showed up that is a member. And there is a giveaway going on Discord right now. If you're a Discord member and you haven't seen it, there's a T-shirt being given away. If you go to the giveaways thread on Discord, on our Discord channel, you will see that I posted. We're going to give away a T-shirt. If you want to win one, then just make a statement below that you want to enter. So several of you have, and several more of you may. But if you haven't won a T-shirt already and you belong to the Discord, bleh, my palate's not catching up with me. Then please just make a statement below and you'll be entered in that thread. And then the Minion and I will announce a winner probably next week. So watch for that. We'll be doing one for the members here on YouTube as well. So watch for that. That'll be probably next Friday. We'll probably do that one. So I guess it's just a few things. Sheldon's going to be along shortly. He's not quite here yet, but he'll be with us in no time at all. But until then, I plan to begin the news and dive into a few stories that I pulled up so you guys can see what's going on in the world around you. It's fantastically informative, I hope. Fantastically informative, but several of you claim that's the best news, so there's not really a lot of competition in that anymore, unfortunately. It's all alternative media now that's carrying a lot of truths. I'm not trying to draw lines in the sand and say I'm one way or the other. I'm really not. I'm actually politically very neutral, but there just seems to be a lot of shenanigans going on right now, in many, many ways, and I'll just leave it at that. So it's I like doing the news. Anyway, congratulations. We already had 100 message. Wow, you guys are chatty tonight. That's great. Happy birthday, Pharmacy. Is it your birthday, Farm? Wow. Happy birthday. That's wonderful. Let's give you a round of applause. You made it. As Naysay says, another circuit around the sun. Nice job. Let's celebrate. And congratulations. I hope you had a wonderful birthday, whatever you did. And it means a lot that you're spending at least part of it here with me. And all of us, of course. I know the chat is just as big a draw as the show, which is awesome. I love that you guys have built this community here. Thank you so much. And we're also streaming on Twitch. And while there's not really a lot going on over there yet, I'm hoping that some people will stumble onto it and say, hey, this is a fun show. I want to be a part of this too. Because I like the idea of streaming not only on YouTube but on Twitch. And I've tried to stream, I tried to sync the channel with Rumble, but apparently YouTube has cut that off now. So I was wondering why nothing was syncing. It synced a few episodes and then it just kind of puked out. So it looks like I'll probably have to manually upload these episodes to Rumble just so that something is there more updated. But don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you, David. Yeah, it does help. It really does help for those of you that are watching on YouTube. The algorithm considers that engagement by the audience, and so does chatting and comments as well. If you're watching it when it's not live, that helps us out a bunch because it says the algorithm, look, this many people showed up for the chat or for the show, but they're engaged. And then this many people have checked it out afterwards, but they're leaving comments. And so it makes the videos get promoted in the suggested list much more readily than no engagement, because that just that those are could be just empty views. Excuse me, hold on. So any engagement like that really helps us out. And, I hope you're liking it. I hope you enjoy the stream and continue to come back. Good to see everybody piling in. God, we're already up to 30. This is a banner night here on the portal. I appreciate you all. Thank you all for joining me. So we're going to get to the news. And then we're going to get to a couple articles I pulled up of varying degrees of paranormal interest. And then we'll get to the cryptids and see where we end up. And remember, if anybody in the chat wants to participate, usually I have the lower third on here where it says Brent Thomas and then says, Paranormal Portal, and then says call in now. But don't. You'll see it on some other of the frames that I've built, but don't call in because the call board is not working. It is not functional currently, and I have no idea when it's going to be functional again. So don't call in yet. But if you want to participate in the conversation, capitalize your chat or at least, or, put at Paranormal Portal. Then the YouTube chat, that gives it a big box that's a little easier to see, but capital letters definitely jump out. It's like, oh, okay. So if I see it, when Sheldon's here, he can watch the chat a little better than I can, but I love your participation. So Auntie, hi, Auntie Lel. Auntie Lel, that's a new name. Hi, Auntie Lel. Welcome to the show. Where is that? I'm looking for there it is. Auntie Lel. Welcome. Great to see you, and thank you for coming in. It's wonderful. It's always great to see new people checking out the shows. Obviously we don't really advertise here, so when people stumble on the streams, it's really cool. So welcome. Make yourself at home. Grab a libation, all of you, and sit back, lower the lights, light some candles or whatever, because we're going in. All right. I guess it's a good time to go to the news, so let's do that. Hey, Aussie, good to see you. And John and Rachel and everyone. We'll do shout-outs later. But for now, it's time to get newsed up. I'm about to news you up. It's the news. Don, it's in my head still. Oh God, it's just in my head. Ugh, brown chicken, brown cow. Every time I hear that song. All right, so this is the news desk. Welcome, and we're going to dive into some news. Some of it's maybe paranormal, but a lot of it is interesting. Hopefully all of it is. And we're going to go into these articles right now, and they are brought to us by the amazing site known as unexplained-mysteries.com. And I love this site. I hope you guys support this site. It's really wonderful. And if there's, any articles that you guys feel are pretty incredible, I'll put the links to most of them in the chat if you want to see the articles yourself. But please stop in and check this site out. It's really a fantastic site, and they do a wonderful job. And your traffic equals revenue for all the sites that we use. So please visit all these sites in your own time, because on the shows we just touch on a few random things here and there, and each of these sites has so much more to offer. So support all of them. What happened there? What happened? Oh, enjoy the weekend. Super Bowl snacks. Thank you, Lucky Gypsy. Appreciating that. I really, really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Sorry. Had to cough. All right, we're going to go to the first article from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this comes from Science and Technology, and we kind of touched on this last show. This is a newer article having to do with lucid dreaming. And this is lucid dreamers drive virtual Cybertruck in bizarre new experiment. So I don't know what's going on here. If this is the same thing that we were talking about on the last show, where they were trying to communicate with people while in lucid dreaming states and get responses that they could corroborate with, as answers. And it was kind of creepy in a sense, but it was a very big article, and we only touched on segments of it. But This one has to do with lucid dreamers driving a virtual cyber truck in bizarre new experiments. So, God, that's creepy. All right, let's see what it is. The research saw volunteers use the power of lucid dreaming to control a truck on a computer while unconscious. Yeah, this is gonna get all kinds of stupid. I don't know that this is good or not. I think dreams are kind of sacred to me. Like that's in my head. That's my space, and I don't want people invading that. I don't want them pumping things into my dream space. That to me is very, very creepy. But we'll read a little bit of this. This is actually a little bit longer. Not too bad though. I guess we can read the whole thing. It's not that long. All right, so it says, ever had a dream in which you actually became aware that you were dreaming and can directly influence the events you are experiencing? This is known as lucid dreaming. For years, scientists have attempted to study what goes on in the brain during such experiences, and now it seems it has even become possible to use lucid dreaming to control objects on a computer. What is your password? Okay. Don't check my history. Don't check my history. Sorry. Anyway, for years, it says, okay, in a series of recent experiments, researchers from California startup REM Space achieved what they were hailing as the first two-way control of a virtual object from a lucid dream. Volunteers who were hooked up to a computer were able to drive a virtual Cybertruck around the screen and even evade obstacles despite being soundly asleep. Special equipment based on electromyography sensors was developed, the team wrote in a press release. If the person moved their legs in a dream, this led to the movement of a virtual avatar, which in this case was Cybertruck, on the computer screen. Hand movements caused the car to turn, and obstacles were signaled by light through the eyelids. 5 experienced lucid dreamers took part in the laboratory study, and all of them were able to consciously control a virtual Tesla while asleep when their brains were in REM sleep, confirmed by polysomnography. That's a huge bunch of words, or letters. Two-way control of an object on the screen lasted from several seconds to several minutes. The research could open the door to many new ways of utilizing the power of lucid dreaming. Two-way interaction with a computer from dreams opens up a whole new area of technologies, and said experiment leader Michael Raduga. Now these developments are crude, but soon they will change the idea of the human capabilities. And so there you go. I guess so people are laying there, and this is kind of a graph showing how they're controlling the car. That's weird. Okay. I mean, it's fascinating, but it's also creepy that they're getting into people's dreams or influence the dreamer. I don't know. I guess people signed up for it, so it's not like they were, they were guinea pigs in a sense, but they are a guinea pig in a sense. What's going on here? It says, okay. All right. I got to send Mr. Sheldon another invite here, so stand by, folks, while we do this, because the show wouldn't be the same without Sheldon Thomas. Let's get him in here. There he is, and call and add. There we go. All right, we should soon have a Sheldon Thomas with us, and that will change everything, because there'll be someone else to talk to other than me laughing at my own jokes, which is weird enough. I never get used to that. You know what I'm saying?
I was waiting. It's true.
Yeah, it is. It is true. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sitting here things make me chuckle, but then I feel kind of dumb for chuckling at my own comments. It's like, yeah, I'm an idiot. Yep. I'm still an idiot. But anyway, welcome to the show, buddy.
I am welcomed again. Yep. Another Friday, another day, another story, another experience,
another adventure. Mostly. That's
right.
This is an adventure into the world of the paranormal. So there we are.
That's right.
It's good to have you here, though. Thanks for coming.
Of course.
Newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, Sheldon Thomas enters the broadcast. All right.
My applause.
That's your applause. Yep. That's your grand entrance. So let's get to the next article here in the news. We got 2 left, and this one's from Nature and Environment. And it's more of a recent discovery than anything, but I think this stuff is kind of cool because we don't know a lot about the oceans, ladies and gentlemen. We have very little knowledge of what goes on in the deep. But scientists just discovered something kind of cool. And I think it's obvious that they should have found this stuff. But anyway, here it is. From unexplained-mysteries.com, scientists discover weird black eggs 3.7 miles beneath the ocean's surface. There be eggs.
Whoa.
Wonder if they found some bacon. Sorry. All right. Well, they found eggs down there. And I mean, honestly, if there's, life down there, of course they're going to find eggs, right? But those must be really robust eggs because if you think about it, I mean, we can't even send a submersible down that far, and that's made out of steel. So what the hell are these eggs made out of? Right? Because everything we put down there, eventually it'll just crush like a pop can, it's like, and done,
Oh, yeah.
Like the Titanic,
Submersible.
Submersible, yeah. That folded up like a cheap card table after a little bit. Now, I mean, maybe it wasn't the most scientifically developed craft. I think they were controlling it with a Xbox controller or something.
Yes, a game controller.
Yeah, it was a game controller, which already kind of for me is red flags. But anyway, let's see what this article says. It says the discovery provides further proof of life's ability to thrive in extremely deep, high-pressure environments. Yeah, I mean, those eggs are still eggs, right? Funny they didn't, they must have really carefully depressurized them. Or are these pictures from down there? I don't know. The number of undiscovered species that exist down in the depths of the Earth's deepest oceans seems unimaginable, yet slowly but surely scientists have been piecing together a slice of what life in the abyss is actually like. In particular, it has become apparent that life forms can eke out an existence in environments that have previously been considered completely uninhabitable. The latest discovery of a clutch of strange black eggs, they're probably Kraken eggs or something stupid like that. Don't poke them, leave them alone.
Oh my God. Lucky Gypsy, thank you so much for the $9.99.
Wow. Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm
feeling lucky.
This latest discovery... Wait, were you gambling? The latest discovery of a clutch of strange black eggs situated at the bottom of the trench, 3.7 miles beneath the Northwest Pacific, is yet another example of how life can surprise us. At a glance, these small black spheres might look a bit like something out of a science fiction horror movie, but when researchers at the University of Tokyo in Japan used a remote-operated submersible vehicle to retrieve some of the objects and bring them back to the surface, it turns out that they were, in fact, the first evidence of flatworms found at such extreme depths. It's flatworms. Wow.
Oh.
There you go. When we opened the egg capsules, a milky liquid that might have been yolk was observed along with the flatworms, wrote Hokkaido University invertebrate biologist Keiichi Kakui and I don't know, Tsuyuki. Okay, thank you. All your years of anime has paid off.
That's right.
DNA analysis determined that these were a previously unknown species closely related to the more common types of flatworms, more typically found in shallower environments. The study proves the deepest record for free-living flatworms and the first information on their early life stages in the abyssal zone, which were very similar to those shallow water forms, the researchers wrote. But still, they're not being crushed. How is that possible? I mean, are they are the insides pressurized exactly like the outside? It must be, right? I mean, if that's where they live. I guess the problem is when we're trying to bring our familiar pressure, or at least a slow adjustment as we submerge, but we could never get that far. I mean, we would turn into egg yolk ourselves inside if we tried to pressure it the same as the outside. But that's crazy.
It's like it's relative because right now we are constantly under the pressure of the weight of a vehicle. Like I think it's around 2,000 pounds. I might be off, but like we're under all the pressure and we're adapted to that. So like imagine a life form that is used to the pressure of space, which is,
Wow.
I guess, a vacuum pressure.
Yeah.
They might imagine us as like super and crazy and all that, but to us, it's nothing.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. I guess it's just, you just become used to where you live, right?
That's right.
It's like people in Florida wearing like parkas. and then someone from Minnesota comes down there in shorts.
Yes, true.
You just get used to where you live. I just find that funny. Sorry. Anyway, what do you do? Okay, well that's the mysterious black eggs found in the bottom of the ocean. They're flatworms, but 3.7 miles down. That's pretty incredible. All right, let's get to the next one, which is the last story tonight. And that one also comes from unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing shite. And this is, again, more national UFO news. But anyway, let's look at it so we can make fun of it. National Archives to house central collection of UAP records. And that's news for some reason, ladies and gentlemen. Does that mean you can do FOIA requests to the National Archives for all this then? I don't know. I don't know. Does the National Archives usually have, I suppose they would usually have like top secret or, security clearance type reports. I mean, it's the archives. So until they're declassified anyway, then maybe they open them up. But anyway, new legislation now requires federal agencies to tag and archive any records pertaining to the UFO phenomena. Greater transparency and improved record keeping with regard to UAPs is set to come into force this year thanks to the previously passed 2024 Defense Policy Bill, which requires all agencies to organize and tag any records that happen to pertain to the phenomena. To this end, a new central collection of UAP records is being set up to house all the data. It's your money at work, folks. Agencies will have until the end of the current fiscal year to get their records organized. The move comes thanks to albeit watered-down legislation passed last year and aims to make data pertaining to the UFO phenomenon more available to agencies and members of the public. Ooh.
Nice.
That's maybe encouraging. I don't want to hold my breath, though, because there'll be something stupid blocking any of the good stuff. For decades, many Americans have been fascinated by objects mysterious and unexplained, and it's long past time they get some answers, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said at the time. Non-American public, or not the American public, rather, has a right to learn about technologies of unknown origins, non-human intelligence, and unexplainable phenomena. Everything's just a rim shot, because I can't believe any of this fluff. Exactly how and when the public will be granted access to this information, however, remains unclear. Yeah, that's the catch right there. It remains unclear. What, are they going to have an online database of all this stuff? No, probably not.
Probably send a request and then it takes 5 years for it to get approved, if it does, or it takes 10, who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to say, folks, but there you have it. That's the latest in UFO news, and that is the end of the news for tonight. So hope you learned something. Hope you feel a little better informed than when you came. And, you're welcome. All right, let's get back to the rest of this show. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the news. Hope you feel all newsed up, as it were. Thanks for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed the news. I like doing the news. Can't believe a word anymore. You're right, John. Thank you, Brent and Sheldon. Thank you, David Barnes.
Just too much fluff. It's always too much fluff.
It's a lot of fluff. You're absolutely right. But, it's nothing new. I mean, it's just the old stuff coming back over and over. We're going to
Same
be
old, same
wide
old.
open for you. We want you to know what's going on. They don't want us to know what's going on.
They
really
always
don't.
preach transparency, but then when it comes to time to put their words into action, it's not.
Yeah, it's like it's as transparent as a brick. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know, folks. Hey, I never turned on the ghost radar, did I? Let's do that.
No, you didn't.
Let's do that, because by God, we should know what the weather's doing. I didn't do this day in history either. 2024, boom. I'm still not getting used to writing 2024.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me too.
Yep. I don't know. I'm a creature of habits. Habits. All of the above. All right. Well, we got a lot more to get to. I've got some articles going on here. What the hell is that? I want to close that. All right. Got some articles to get into now, and we'll dive into those as we speak. Or
Ish.
not this one. What the hell is it? Is it this one? No. Where did it go? What in the hell? What the hell?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know what I did. Okay. Oh, here it is. No. This is not it. Where the... Yep.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, welcome to my world. What the hell did I do with it? That is cray. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's dumb. But let me go back and pull it up again. I know it's right here. Yeah, here it is. I mean, God, I had it open and everything. Let's do it again. All right, here we go. Sorry, folks. I don't know why that's happened a couple times now, where I open something and it's all good to go, and then I come back and it's gone. I did get an email from. Actually, I'll read it to you guys. Let's do this listener email first, because it was pretty bizarre.
Before we get to that, thank you, Elaine Clifford, for the 19 months. Another month has gone by.
Elaine remembered. Woo! Thank you, Elaine. We love when you guys remember. All right, so let's get to that listener email. I'm just going to read it. I'm not going to put it on screen because I don't know if this person wants to be identified or not, but I just thought, wow. Okay. Here it is. Let me make it a little wider. All right. Now, I don't know if any of the rest of you have experienced stuff like this. I get an email every once in a while where people talk about, man, when I listen to your show, weird stuff starts happening. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, obviously we're talking about a lot of really creepy stuff, or, and there is the idea that if you discuss something, does it somehow summon it to you? There's a lot of beliefs in around the world that would say that is absolutely right. One of the things you're never supposed to do is actually name a demon, because by naming it, there's a belief that you're summoning it to you or calling it. What's another one like that? Certainly the idea of magnetism, which is from more occult esoteric circles, where it talks about, like, if you focus on something enough, you're drawing that energy to you. And that's another kind of belief that centers around, when you focus on something, maybe it does, in a sense, draw to you. I mean, of course, the affirmations people make for having money coming into their life, and suddenly sometimes money shows up in really surprising ways. So, I mean, there could be some real merit to that what you put out, you call back. But this one is a claim I've never heard before. Like I've heard from people that were listening to podcasts or even the live streams. Like one person contacted me and said, this picture keeps falling off my wall, and it's never done this before, and which is really strange. And they said it not only like fell off the wall, but it actually came out from the wall. Like it was kind of launched. It didn't break that I recall. But anyway, this is an email from a listener in Australia of the podcast. I think she watches both. She watches the YouTubes as well as listens to the podcast, but she says, I just wanted to say hello from Australia. I was introduced to your podcast, podcast /YouTube via Sarah Bignell of Yowie Central, and I really want to thank you for such a fabulous show. Well, thank you. I mean, that's amazing. I just really appreciate hearing that. I love listening to your podcast and watching YouTube. It's really warm-hearted, and I often shed tears at the witness stories and the lovely way that you handle the witnesses. Oh, that's really cool. I was particularly touched by your interview with Kevin Lang. Yeah, that was a tearjerker. Now for the haunted audio. While listening to the Paranormal Portal podcast, I've often had lots of strange audio interference, which at first got me annoyed, but now it makes me laugh. The interference tends to happen most when you are interviewing a witness reporting on ghosts, UFOs, and poltergeist type behavior. When you interviewed the artist whose name I can't remember, who worked in the Antiques Museum and had to handle a shrunken head, it took me about 4 hours to get through his episode because the audio jumped around and messed up so often. When your podcast first started messing up, I just thought something was wrong with my phone service or the podcast platform, but when it continued happening over and over and only on your show, I figured there could be something else going on. I regularly listen to a variety of podcasts on different topics, and it never happens on the non-paranormal podcast. I guess you're special, LOL. Yeah, I guess. It said, for your information, here are a few of the haunted audio shenanigans I've experienced on your show. First one, your podcasts sometimes stop in the same spot over and over and refuse to start again. There's just dead air silence for the rest of the podcast. Next one, audio goes randomly out of sequence. It jumps around so that the last section of your podcast is played near the beginning. If I pause the show and come back to it later, it will play the ending again that I've already heard. So then I go back to the beginning and realize it never played that part at all. But it definitely won't let me play certain episodes from start to finish in their proper recorded sequence. This sort of thing happens a lot. The next point is audio sometimes starts playing over the top of itself. So there are two tracks going on at once, and I can't understand what is being said. And the last one is sometimes the podcast will finish, but the countdown timer says there's still 15 minutes to go. Then sometimes the podcast timer counts down to 0, so I think the podcast is over, but it continues playing for another 15 to 30 minutes. Spooky stuff. These are just some of the strange audio occurrences that happen when I listen to the Paranormal Portal podcast. It doesn't put me off listening, though. It's gotten to the point where I laugh out loud at the haunted audio, and I think, oh, it's just Brent Podcast going all kooky again. Well, keep up the good work on your down-to-earth friendly show. I wish you and everybody all the best. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I don't have an explanation. Yeah. Very, very strange. I don't know why. I have no idea. It's not like I'm, conjuring spirits in here. Well, I mean, I do some investigation and stuff. I do investigate, but I'm not like conjuring, or doing, weird esoteric practices. I'm just talking about this stuff. And it's weird that it has effects on some people's experiences. So I got to ask all of you guys out there, have you ever experienced weird stuff listening to my shows? Is this something that's going on for more people?
Is this a common thing?
Yeah. Is this kind of something I didn't know about? But yeah, I mean, God, I'll rebrand the podcast, the Haunted Podcast, man, the Haunted Portal. We'll just roll with that. The only show that's actually haunted. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I'm not sure what that is. I don't have any explanation for it. Certainly doing the shows, I say a lot, sorry. I say it again. Doing the shows, I've experienced, a lot of weird stuff here in the studio that I can't explain either. It hasn't happened for quite some time, and knock on wood that it won't, because that stuff really does stress me out. It's like, damn it. I want the shows to go well. I want people's experience watching the shows to go well. But when weird things like that happen, what do you do? What do you think, Sheldon?
Yeah. Best you can.
Yeah, that's about it, really. All you can do. It happens here, Brent. Barbara Mora says, really? John Temperance says, Brent, yes, went watch live live spirit box shows anymore. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, John. I didn't know. I mean, I knew some people were getting creeped out by that, but I'm sorry if you had bad experiences with it. That was never my intention. I just wanted to demonstrate this stuff, because what you see on the ghost shows is sometimes not actually very accurate, or the practice doesn't seem as accurate to me. So I just wanted to demonstrate the real stuff. But anyway, I haven't done it since, just because I'm also not at 100%. And I don't think it's wise to ever engage with, forces you don't understand completely when you're not, feeling 100%. I think you have to be sharp, because God, something dark comes through. Last night on the member stream, we talked about when I was testing the Spirit Talker app on my phone on the show, and the thing would spit out these only weird old Latin. It spit out only old Latin.
Oh.
And I was absolutely stunned. I was like, ooh. And I actually kind of felt like, ooh, maybe we're knocking on a bad door here, but I wasn't sure. I was a little tentative about that one. I was like, oof. Pray first for us. I do, actually, absolutely. I do a lot of prayers before. I do a lot of cleansing. I do a lot of cleansing and prayers after. So I would, ask that all of you be protected as well. That's always very much a part of what I do. I certainly never want bad things to happen to you guys out there. I don't want to, have you tune into a show and have it blow up in your face.
I mean, it's like we said many times, when you're inviting stuff in, you don't know for sure what you're inviting in.
Oh, Neil, how you doing, Neil? Good to see you. I know you're heading to bed. Yep. Okay. But good night, sir, and thank you for tuning in. It's great to see you. John Temperance said, Brent, half hour after the show, had to use Jesus to chase something. Oof. I'm really sorry. I guess maybe I should not do that at all anymore. That's never been my intention, but if it's Aramaic, it might be scarier. Yeah. Well, Aramaic, I would think that I wouldn't even recognize that, I'm sure. But you guys remember that, of course. I posted that show in the ghost thread on Discord. Thank you, Maggie. I haven't seen that yet, but I will go look at it, because I really do want to cut that clip and send it to the maker of that application and say, look, is this something your app should be doing? Because it blew me away. I was like really shocked that it was spitting out those words. And during the show, I was like, I have no idea what this is. Can somebody Google it? And I think, Rachel, you Googled a bunch of them, and several of you did as well. But it was really, really weird when it just spit out old Latin. Not like French or Spanish, like old Latin. The dead language, that one. Or the language of medicine. Yeah, and law, yeah. But, yeah, crazy stuff. So that's the listener email. I appreciate you guys kind of filling me in on some of your other experiences, because I've only ever done that just to show you guys the techniques I use, how I do it, and we've gotten some pretty incredible stuff, really. But at the same time, I don't know. I honestly don't know why it's any different from when you watch a ghost investigation, like any of the ghost hunter people. Why do people not experience things after watching those? Well, I mean, there's always the idea that maybe they're not as legitimate as they portray. And I'm not casting aspersions at anyone. I mean, I love those shows too. I find them entertaining and interesting. But in fact, that's where I found that Spirit Talker app, was by watching Yasko and oh my gosh. And that's where I found it. I'm like, God, it seems like it's really triggering pretty accurately, because they'd have whole segments that were uninterrupted. So it wasn't like clip, clip, clip. It was this whole segment that was just a straight run where that thing was spitting out some pretty impressive things. And I was like, well, I want to test that. And that's what made me get that one. But I don't want to expose you guys to anything like that. So I guess we'll probably stop that completely. I haven't done it other than the Ghost Radar, which I think is pretty benign. If you guys are uncomfortable with that, let me know too. I mean, it's just such a passive thing that I don't think that lends to any problems, but let me know. Either way. All right. So that's the listener email. I just wanted to share that with you guys because I thought, wow, that's bizarre. I've not heard of that exact kind of problem before. So that's interesting. That's very interesting to me. And I didn't ask permission to read that on the air, so I didn't use the author's name. But it's someone from Australia. If she wants to be identified, then, I'm sure she can let me know, or I can tell her that I read it tonight. And maybe she's watching. I don't know. But it's very, very cool email. Either way, thank you for the support and for listening. It's really awesome to hear that you love the shows. I'm just sorry you're having such issue listening to them.
Yeah.
But at any rate, that's what we got. So I have a book on learning Latin I bought 30 years ago. Maybe I should look at it. It's written like a kid's book with, what does that say? Cartoons and images and actions, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, why not? That'd be interesting. So anyway, I ended up not scrolling in my chat for some reason. All right, there's that. I'm just seeing if I missed anything. I was number 38 on the up. Okay, Wildman's Mom. How you doing, Wildman's Mom? Actually, let's see. Sheldon, do you want to do some shout-outs?
Sure. If you guys want to shout out, now's the time to comment.
Yeah, Luna did some research for us, too. That's right. No crazy stuff happening here, John Labella says. Good. I can write and speak Old Latin. Wow, RJ, that's awesome.
Wow.
That's incredible. Yeah, you should watch that episode then. If you're in the Discord, RJ, check it out and see what you think. I wish something would happen to me, Wizard Moon says. Careful what you careful what you wish for. Yeah.
Yeah, don't be wishing for that. Trust us.
Yeah, for the most part, most of the like 90% of the spiritual stuff that I've experienced personally hasn't scared me. But I ran into something dark one time, and that really was concerning, like very, very, very concerning. It was not good. And I don't talk about it because I just don't want anything to happen where it tries to come back. So, it's nice seeing you again, Sheldon. David says.
Yes, it's good to be back. Feels amazing, especially on a wonderful Friday like this.
Barbara's talking about some of those ghost shows, scripted or directed. Yeah, I think some of them are. I think, I just did an interview. It's going to be next week's podcast interview, Barbara. And it's someone that was actually a regular on Ghosts of Shepherdstown. And that's Nick Groff's old show where he worked with Elizabeth St. John, I think is her name, and one other gentleman. And they investigated this town, Shepherdstown, in, I think it's West Virginia. And they had a lot of haunting stuff going on there. And I asked her off the record, I said, I really want to know because, I think all of us are curious. Of course, when you see a show on TV, you think, oh, is there any legitimacy to this? Well, she swore. She said, absolutely. All of the investigative stuff was as it happened. She said they embellished nothing. She said they did some reenactments and stuff on some other stuff, but she said they never faked their investigations. And she was there for several of them. She said it was all exactly as it happened. And she said sometimes things happened that weren't caught on camera, and those were amazing too. So that was really cool to hear. And I've always been a fan of Nick Groff's. I just like that guy. I like his demeanor. I like his approach. And he's just really down-to-earth guy from everything that I can tell. I've not met him or talked to him, but I think he's just one of those really impressive people that has persevered in the face of a lot of adversity, and he's continued his journey and has done a hell of a job on several Paranormal Lockdown, The Ghosts of Shepherdstown. He's now got this new series online called Death Walker, which is a really cool series that he does with his wife, and very cool. I just have enjoyed what episodes I've been able to watch. So I don't generally promote a lot of ghost shows because, what do I know? But as far as I know, Ghost Hunters is very legitimate, as is Nick Groff stuff. I can't speak to other things, but I'll tell you that some of the more what do I say? Some of the more famous shows out there, probably the most famous show. I talked to some people that were there during one of their investigations, and they were not impressed, and they said that it was just a terrible experience.
Ooh, that's
So
too bad.
yeah, they said, and the quote was, "They are never welcome back." That was actually what she said. Now, I'm not going to say names or whatever, but that's what I was told. I was like, ooh, but
That's rough.
yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's
Shout outs.
shout outs. It's time. If you want to be shouted out, talk in the chat. Sheldon, take it away.
All right. Welcome in Aussie Tiger, Barbara Mora, Batman, Cool Hand, David Barnes, David Ziesmer. God, I hope I said that right. Elaine Clifford, Hardwick Big D, Isaac Ariola, Jason Finch, Jason G, John Labella, John Temperine, Karen Alberding, Lucky Gypsy, Maggie M10, Dad, you're here, RJ Windwalker, Rachel Gets It Right, Ron the Sage, SoCal Squatcher, Wildman's Mom, Wizard 13, and Loose Leaf Media. Welcome. Welcome all, welcome all.
Excellent. And Lucky Gypsy's also keeping an eye on the Twitch, which I don't think anything's going on over there. Nope, just me and Lucky Gypsy there right now, as far as I can tell. So that's okay. It's just there. Hopefully people find it eventually. I'm not promoting it in any way, but I hope that takes off too. That'd be fun.
It's there.
Yeah. I know it's playing. I know it's happening, but I just mean that. Are you there too?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. So there you go. There's the shout outs. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. The toot is out there. The toot? What does that mean, Rachel? Hello to Portal Mom. Oh, by the way, thank you, Jason, for saying that. And I did see Jason G talk about living in a haunted house somewhere up here. Where is it? Oh, yeah, Jason G. My house is over 100 years old. Very creepy stuff going on. Wow. Well, if you want to talk to me about it, Jason, or be a guest on the podcast, just get a hold of me. Go to paranormalportal.net and click on the interview me if you've got some stories you'd like to share. Love to have you as a guest on the podcast. I'm always looking for new guests. So if you've got stories, love to talk to you about them. So keep that in mind. Paranormalportal.net interview me button launches a calendar application, which has my interview dates and times that are available. And just click on whatever works for you in those, and we'll connect and make it happen. So very cool. Thank you, Jason G. So I did want to say, I talked to Portal Mom earlier. She's doing fine. She's doing better. She's gone through a lot of health issues, but she just wanted to pass on the thanks and love, and that she misses you all. So I'm telling you tonight. Portal Mom says she loves you all, and thank you for your love and support and well-wishing. So, all right. Anyone that lives here must pay rent and chip in for utilities and beer. Got to get that beer in there. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So, thank you, Sheldon, too, Wildman's Mom says.
You are welcome. Very welcome.
All right, so let's get to this article that I've been teasing for a while. And this is coming from ranker.com, ladies and gentlemen. We miss and love you too, Portal Mom. Thank you, Maggie. Aw, that's sweet.
So much love.
So much love. We love. All right. All right. This is an article from ranker.com, ladies and gentlemen. It's another Reddit scrape article, but these are great stories. I really enjoy these. And ranker.com is an excellent site. So whatever you're interested in, you can find lists or of what you're interested on that site. It's just incredible. So I can't encourage you to support that site enough too. All the sites we visit, please support them, visit them, give them some help. All right. So this is written by Sola Irina. She's the list curator. And she starts out, these are 8 freaky highway ghost encounters around the world. And this is a topic that comes up. I mean, everybody's heard of the woman, the maiden or whatever, or woman next to a road that's like just standing there and kind of translucent. I think we've all seen videos of the like as well. And, it's a common trope in the paranormal. But I do think that these events do happen. And maybe anywhere and everywhere. We don't know where ghosts are going to show up or why or when. They just show up wherever they show up. Some of them are residual, just like a energetic recording of the land that replays from time to time for whatever reason. And others of them are very intelligent and interact. Like, I think everybody's heard the stories of the cab driver that a woman flags him down on the road and says she wants to go to such and such address, and sometimes when they get to the location, he looks back for looking for payment, and there's nobody in his back seat. Other times the destination is a cemetery, and then they look back and there's nobody there. And it's all creepy. But that is definitely interacting with somebody. So that spirit is, I don't know. I guess you got to wonder, is that actually just a confused spirit that doesn't know they're dead? Or is that some kind of trickster pulling some trickster type of being, just pulling people's chains and trying to, get a rise out of people? And I can't say with any certainty which it is, but that's certainly some of the things that I've considered when talking about these. Yeah,
Or-
it is nuts, Jason. Yep, Jason said that's nuts. I
It's
don't
a
know.
magician pulling a scam.
Well, I mean, how do they jump out of a moving car? I don't know.
That's why they're a magician.
That's true. They never give away the trick. You never give away the trick. Iktomi. What is Iktomi? ESU Reloaded says Iktomi.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it is. All right. So the first story on this list from ranker.com is Resurrection Mary. And the font is a little small, so I'm going to blow this up. I think my eyes are getting worse. I'm going up to 175% now. All right. That's how much I'm zoomed in. But it makes it easier for you guys to read too. So here it is. The ghost of Resurrection Mary is said to ask for rides from strangers only to disappear in front of their eyes. Many report stories of her walking around barefoot in a white dress along Chicago's Archer Road, also called Interstate 171, near Resurrection Cemetery. Who's this ghost during life? Some say she might have been Mary Bregovi, a young Polish woman who had passed away in 1934 in a car accident. And others think her name was Ana Maria Norcus. I don't know why I did a Spanish pronunciation on that. I don't know. It's Marija. I think the J in that version is like a Y or H. Maybe it's Maria Norcus, who lost her life in a car accident in 1927 on her way home from a night of dancing. There's a Brad Steiger, author of Real Ghosts, Restless Spirits, and Haunted Places, said, as people drive her home, she asked them to stop in front of the cemetery gates on Archer Avenue. She gets out of the car, turns across a road, and dematerializes at the gate. Wow. So she really gets out and wanders. In May 1978, Sean and Jerry, or Gary, I don't know if that's Jerry or Gary, late, reported almost smashing into Resurrection Mary driving late one night. They saw a blonde woman in a white dress and slammed on the brakes only to have her vanish into a cemetery. That's creepy. Most people report seeing Resurrection Mary during stormy or snowy nights. Though she isn't affected by weather conditions, ghost hunter Richard Crow said it might be raining cats and dogs, but Mary will be completely dry. Yeah, that's a good trick. I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Just could you imagine like those movies of like a really powerful person walking in the rain and nothing's hitting them? Ooh.
Intimidation.
That's foreboding, isn't it? That's like, what do they call that? There's a name.
Waterbending?
No, jeez. No, it's not. It's not anime. It's foreshadowing. Foreshadowing, like
Okay.
when the person walks up and they're totally dry after walking in from the rain. It's like, ooh, this person's not normal. Anyway, next one is the vanishing hitchhiker. It says Easter weekend 1968, a girl named Marie Charlotte Rowe, R-O-U-X, was killed in an auto accident near Uniondale, South Africa, where her fiance lost control of the car. Oh, that's so tragic. The highway is said to be haunted by her spirit. The first reported sighting of her spirit was Easter weekend a few years later, and Marie appeared to a young woman who offered her a ride only to disappear from the car. Since then, many have reportedly seen her. A motorcyclist named Andre Kotze supposedly was riding near the accident site when he felt an unseen presence put its arms around his waist from behind as if it was sitting on his bike. Oh. Nearby cafe owner Janetta Meyer said motorcyclists frequently relay a similar story of picking up a blonde woman who later vanishes. Must be a hell of a manifestation, though, to just pop out of existence. That it's real enough that these people go, hey, you need a ride, hop on. I mean, do they, when they sit down, does the bike go down like sometimes people report apparitions sitting on beds and it makes an actual depression, like they have weight? Is that, is it that real? And then they feel the hands and it's like, okay, here we go. And then next thing you know, it's like you're looking in the mirror and nobody's there. And yeah, imagine, do the bikers think, oh my God, she fell off? So they turn around and go back, look and see where she ended up, sliding into a ditch or something, but she just disapparated, I guess. That's very creepy. That would
almost like they're anchored to that location, though. Like they can't go beyond.
It does seem like that, and that's a strange thing. Again, I have to wonder if what does that say? Shoe. It says shoe. I don't know if she was wearing shoes. One of them was barefoot, but I don't know if this one was wearing shoes. That says shoe. I don't know why. But what was I going to say? Oh, I got to wonder, in some of these cases, and I don't know, but I just have to believe that for the most part, when we pass, we pass. We pass through into whatever's next. But is this some fragment of the tragedy that just keeps maybe an impression of the person, or some part of them that couldn't pass into the next world that is in mourning? It's in this deep sadness for the tragedy of their death, or is it the actual spirit of the people that just couldn't transition because their life ended in such tragedy? It was just, they were stuck in this sadness that they couldn't transition. And I don't know.
I've thought about that. You've brought this up before too, and I have given that a lot of thought of that. I do wonder if, like you say, like if our spirits, if our souls are truly like light and divine and all that, maybe kind of like you've said before, and kind of like you're saying now, that part leaves, but then everything else stays because it can't. Kind of like you're implying,
right?
And it's very curious.
I just don't, because almost every near-death experience is people ending up transitioning to this beautiful place. Some of them are dark. Some of the experiences are dark and scary, but for the most part, they seem to be these wonderful experiences where people are, in this amazing place, the tunnel of light, all of that, all those ideas that keep coming through in near-death experiences. But, I don't know. Karen Alberding says, I don't stop for real people unless you know them. Too many weirdos out there. I watch a lot of murder shows.
I actually agree with you, Karen. Absolutely.
I do too. I actually saw a woman hit a deer one time, and it just smashed the front of her car. And then I was driving and saw these headlights coming. It was nighttime. Suddenly her headlights disappeared, and then all of a sudden there was like one, but it was pointing the wrong direction. I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? Well, I got up to her, and there was just shrapnel all over from the front end of her car. And she was beside herself, and actually was, took a little damage herself from the accident. And here I am, a single guy. I don't know if I was single or married at the time, but anyway, I was alone in my car and just happened to see this happen. And so I pulled over right away. I'm like, I can give you a ride back to the gas station if you want. And the concern on her face was just like, don't get into cars with strange people, the strange guy or whatever. And I'm like, ma'am, I understand you, but I know you need some help. I'm willing to help you. I only mean to help you. And she hesitantly got in, and I drove her to the gas station. She got out and made a call, and I waited with her until her friend came and was able to help her further. But, it was just, it was so sad that she was in that state. Like, I genuinely wanted to help, but she genuinely didn't know if she could trust me. And I was like,
That's yeah. That's
that's,
the worst part is that,
yeah,
for people like us, we do really enjoy helping even strangers, but it's almost, I don't want to say it's taboo, but it almost is taboo.
yeah.
Because of that fear and because of other people that give people like us who want to help a bad name.
Sure, sure. I mean, and granted, caution is a great thing, I guess, given that there are so many broken people out there, but
Yeah.
but it's just one of those things. I mean, it'd be nice if people could just know that they were, someone really genuinely wanted to help them.
Yeah.
It didn't even occur to me until I saw the look in her eyes, and I was like, oh, yeah, I suppose,
Yeah.
she's probably like, oh, this could get so much worse, and I was just trying to make it better by being there to help out. But state of the world, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly, Barbara. Barbara says, yeah, it's a tough call to want to help, but can't do to trust. Well, she did end up getting in the car because I think she was just in such a mess. And so, but I just talked to her and said, my name is this, and I'm just coming from work, going home, and I saw it happen. I said, are you okay? And talked to her until we got to the gas station where she was able to call for help. So, yeah, very, very weird situation. But I mean, these situations, people are just like, hey, get on. Well, again, for a woman to a woman, or even a man trying to help a woman, any guy is going to want to help. You just hope they have the best intentions, but most guys do. 99% of people do, or 99.9%, but there's still those 0.1% out there that are just monsters. So,
yes.
At any rate, here's one from the most haunted road in Scotland. The A75, a major highway in Scotland, is said to be teeming with supernatural entities. Mostly ghostly paranormal investigations. Founder Kathleen Croney told BBC, there have been screaming hags, eyeless phantoms, and a menagerie of unearthly creatures witnessed on this famous road. Regular sightings of groups of dejected, bedraggled people and elderly women are said to occur. And that's pretty amazing because I just think, we've got everywhere has history, but I think, Scotland has a lot of history with, conflicts with England and trying to get their independence and bloody battles and, famine and hardships of, the what are the dark ages. Some horrible things were going on all the time. And so it doesn't surprise me that there's a lot of imprints. And yeah, that's crazy. Here's one called the Stocksbridge Monk. There's a video attached as well. I'm going to put this list in the chat. You guys can check it out. Check out the videos or whatever. But it says local lore has it that an excommunicated monk still roams one of the most haunted roads in Britain, the Stocksbridge bypass. According to legend, he fell out of favor with the church and was buried in an unconsecrated grave in the area. God, that's horrible. I mean,
jeez.
You'd think with okay, so this is a monk and it's based on Christianity. I mean, what did Christ say? Forgive your enemies, right? And forgive those who trespass against you. It's like, well, but they were like, nope, you're done. We're not even going to bury you right. Yeah, it's no wonder he's not at rest. Several children also fell down mine shafts in these parts and suffered untimely ends. In 1987, construction along the road was halted because workers reported seeing and hearing strange phenomena. 2 security guards claimed to have seen groups of children in old-fashioned clothes playing and dancing in a circle in the construction zone. Later, they witnessed a hooded figure, perhaps the monk, watching them and a torso pressing up against the car window. What the hell? That's a lot of stuff, yeah. For one little area during construction. Again, I wonder if it's the same. Like if these ghostly imprints are on a road. Look at that picture. Oof. If there's ghostly imprints on a road, then if construction happens, does that also revitalize that energy? And bring more activity like that? Because oftentimes we talk about houses and how if you want to know if your house is haunted, start remodeling. because
Yep.
anything there is going to start throwing stuff, or at least making its presence known. So yeah, I wonder if that's the same for like roads. I don't know. Just saying.
Could be.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, here's the next one. Riverview
What did the
Drive.
spirit box say?
Nothing. Just shoes. The
Oh, I
last.
saw a little jagged line. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
that might have been a presence or something. It didn't spit out a word anyway.
Okay.
It doesn't hiss, and well, you probably don't hear the hiss anyway because you're on Skype. But the hissing sound is when there's a really strong energy detected, and you'll see it as a red circle and sometimes orange, but the green ones usually don't make the alarm go. So,
Okay.
yep. All right, here we go. Riverview Drive in Totowa, New Jersey, I guess. Totowa is cursed by a tragic figure. Legend has it poor Annie was ousted from a car on prom night after a fight with her boyfriend. After walking along the road, she spotted a pickup truck and waved for help, but the truck driver didn't see her. Aw, that's tragic. And hit her, and the dress became entangled with the truck, and her face was pared off as she was dragged along the road. Aw.
Oh God, what such description?
Yeah, no kidding. For years after, what looked like a large blood stain was said to appear on the spot where she died every year until 2000, when the road was repaved. And to this day, people report electronic failures along this highway, and some have claimed they've seen the ghosts of a young woman. And I don't know what this picture's from, but that's creepy as hell. I don't know that her face looks peeled off, but it might be. Might be skeletal face or something. I don't know. Yikes. Oh, here's one. Highway 666. Ooh, that's creepy. Highway 666. It should be noted that some ancient manuscripts have cited the number of the beast as 616 and not 666, just for the record. It's not surprising that people cruising along a spooky-sounding highway in the southwest would report creepy encounters. Originally called Highway 666 because it was the sixth branch of Route 66, it has since been changed in most places to Highway 191. Tales of people seeing demon dogs, evil skinwalkers, and trucks on fire have been reported along the road. Locals recommend you drive at your own risk, and whatever you do, don't stop for hitchhikers or leave space for unwanted passengers. Yeah, that's pretty creepy. There it is. There's a sign. Old 666.
I mean, wouldn't that in that case be a tulpa kind of thing? Because if the ancient texts do say it's 619, then therefore that's kind of the magic evil number. So therefore 666 should be irrelevant. But then people's like fear of it would kind of make things happen then, right?
Well, certainly. I mean, there's certainly old manuscripts that say it was 666, but it was also not 619, but 616. And so, yeah.
16. Okay.
Yep, 616. Yep. It's been cited as both, but yep. I see 143 all the time. Laugh out loud. Old 666. Yeah. And it's new 491. Wow. Glad they rebranded that, but they left it up anyway. Whatever. Yeah. Interesting. Mount Misery and Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow, everybody knows that story. I love that movie with Johnny Depp. That's such a good show.
Oh, yeah.
Less than a mile apart, Mount Misery and Sleepy Hollow Road in New York boasts some of the eeriest ghost stories ever shared. Tales of Mary's Grave, located near Sleepy Hollow Road, and the ghost of a police officer missing the back of his head are just a few of the unexplained phenomena to occur in the region. Other legends include teens who hung themselves along the road and continue to haunt the area. But these phantoms aren't all evil. There's also a ghost who is involved in an auto accident and sticks around to prevent others from facing the same fate. Now that's cool. So that's like one of the rare occasions where I've heard that ghosts actually linger in a place and they help people. Another one was a small child fell off of a dock into the lake and couldn't swim. And while he was underwater, essentially drowning, he saw an apparition of a little girl. And she said, look up to the light and just kick your feet and paddle your hands and you'll go up. Just do that. And so he did, and he surfaced, and then his family was able to grab him and pull him out. But it was an apparition of a little girl. Turns out a little girl had drowned in that very location years and years earlier. So she was still there in some manner and decided to help this little boy. So it's a beautiful story. It doesn't, I mean, you don't hear those very often, but they are really fantastic. Again, I love the happy ending stories like that the most, but we don't see them a lot. And here's the last one, The Highway Bride of India. And this is in Mumbai, India. A stretch of highway near the Marve beach is said to be haunted. The spirit of a woman in bridal dress lurks around these parts, and people have confessed to hearing her screams at night. Legend has it a newly married woman was taken out by her husband, not in the good way, and haunts the highway. That's tragic. That is very, very tragic. So there you have it, folks. This was a little jaunt down some haunted highways around the world. So it's not just one location, but there's a lot of them. But anyway, any location can be haunted. I mean, it could be a haunted bathroom, for God's sakes. It's just, if something tragic happens somewhere, it could have that imprint. And then again, if you believe it's haunted, then it probably becomes haunted too. And there we get into the tulpa thing you were mentioning.
That's right.
Yeah. So 1111 here. Oh, I love that number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 1111 is apparently very powerful in numerology. Headless horseman in mythology is the Dullahan. Oh, okay. That's cool. See, Rachel, you always have these interesting tidbits. I don't know where you come up with this stuff.
So much information.
I have a mess of things going on in my head, but I have no idea what's going on in yours. It's like you make me look like an abacus while you're like a supercomputer. Jeez. Yeah. I'm just the sliding beads and she's like trillions of calculations per second or something. Jeez. All right. 1511 here. Not AD good. Not ad good. Not as good. You guys don't use a 12-hour cycle? Do you guys use the 24-hour cycle in Oz, Maggie?
Yeah. I hope so. That's the best way to do it.
Well, then it's 3 p.m. for Maggie. Okay. Wait, I'm a little coffee tonight.
Coffee?
Not in the good way.
Uh-huh.
That's my saying for the night. Not in the good way. I was looking at my phone, and it's a 24 hours. Okay. All right.
That's how I do it, Maggie. That's the way.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do the 24-hour clock.
Oh, okay. I use military time as well, Maggie. Wizard says. Okay. Well,
that's right.
I used to when I was in, I guess, both corrections and when I worked security, we used the military time for our documentation. But yeah, at 15:30 hours at the above date and time, so-and-so had this incident. The following incident happened. Yeah, it was just reports. I can't believe how many reports I wrote through the years. Ugh. Nothing is as dry as writing policy, though. I wrote a ton of policy and instruction manuals. Oh, God.
Wait, you wrote manuals? Oh, God.
Yeah, I wrote manuals. It was when I worked I was working in corrections, but I ended up working in the desk a lot up front because I had knee surgeries and stuff. So they would, have me field the calls and radio and stuff, but I also would, they were rewriting policy and stuff. So I had to help rewrite that because they knew I could write. And so I had to type it all out too. It was just like, it's so dry. Oh, that kind of writing is so dry. And then I also had to, I was the only one that could use the NCIS and CGIS on our shift. I was the only one that was trained in it. So I had to write a manual for other people if there was a reason I wasn't there that they could do it. So I had to write how to step by step, run background checks, do criminal history checks and all that stuff. So and licenses and stuff. So that was
that sounds like a scary paranormal experience right there.
It certainly was in a weird kind of way. It was definitely not normal. So that was the Ranker article. We're going to get to the cryptid corner now. They knew you could write. Your colleagues could write. No, they could, but there was varying degrees of literacy, in
Yes.
in our facility, and some people weren't good at, breaking things down into step by step and and procedurally and stuff. So that's interesting, Brent. I didn't know you wrote policy. Extremely dry indeed, exhausting. Yeah, loose leaf, huh? It's just like, oh, God. Yep. Yep, it's a dry thing, but it's just another thing I've done, another part of my journey. It's what brought me here. Okay, I get you. Android says, "Good to see you, Android." He just popped in, ladies and gentlemen. Android's been a long time friend of the show and a part of the show. He's just been incredible, and he used to call in quite a bit when we had a phone line.
Yeah.
We don't have phones anymore, Android. The phones have been down for weeks now, so unfortunately we can't field phone calls. But he's had quite a few paranormal experiences as well. Some pretty interesting stuff. So let's see. Let's get to the cryptids. What do you say, Sheldon?
I say we should.
Okay, well, on Sheldon's word then, ladies and gentlemen, we will enter the cryptid corner.
That's right.
I'm going to make some kind of flashy screen thing for the cryptid corner.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Yeah, that'd be a
Okay.
good idea.
Well, it'd be a great idea for you too, but you can edit. I know you can.
Oh God, I don't have the time for that anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I've got so much of that too,
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah, you have so much time.
Yeah, you know me. I'm just usually sitting around surfing
That's right.
YouTube and stuff. So
That's right. YouTube.
let me put a link for that article in the chat if anyone wants to check that out for the highway stuff, because there's a video or two that was embedded in there, and maybe you guys want to check it out. So there it is. There's the Ranker article. Definitely check it out. Watch those videos. I can't say what's on them. I haven't seen them, but I'm sure it's good. All right, we're going to start out with some Sasquatch Chronicles, ladies and gentlemen.
Sketch.
Sasquatch Chronicles, Mr. Wes Germer's site. We talked a lot about Wes last night, how he helped me form the portal, and actually came up for the idea of doing a podcast. That was Wes's suggestion. Why isn't this a podcast? I'm like, I don't know.
Boom.
He's
Next step right there.
Yep. Yeah, it was. It was just one of those things. He said, well, it should be. I'm like, okay. so I made a podcast.
The rest is history.
Yep. I mean, what am I going to argue with Wes? It's like, okay, that's what I'll do. I was thinking that same thing. Funny you said that. I was just thinking that. I wasn't. But I did. I did. And it's worked out really well. Really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see. Let's get to the Cryptid Corner and Mr. Wes Germer's Sasquatch Chronicle blog, where he posts a lot of listener emails. And if you haven't gone through and read them, and there's so much more in his archives. I mean, it goes all the way back, 10 years or whatever. It's just a really robust not building, but a repository of these incredible Sasquatch encounters. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever, skunk ape, grass man, you name it. All right, let's go on to this one. The first one is again from Sasquatch Chronicles blog, and this is from February 9th, so it's today old, which is an awesome age.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you post more for tomorrow. I need more material, Wes. Keep posting. All right, this one is February 9th, Encounter in Arkansas. And it says, a listener writes, in the spring of 2014, I took my son turkey hunting for the youth turkey hunt. Where we camped was a designated campsite. However, it was more of a cleared spot. There was no electric or concrete pad. Just looks like maybe a couple times a year the campsites are scraped to keep them from getting overgrown. This campsite is 3 to 4 miles uphill from any paved road. The gravel off the pavement turns into dirt a couple miles in. The sun had set and we were sitting around the campfire after eating dinner. I told my son, who was 12, we needed to turn in since we were getting up early in the morning. We had not been to the tent for 5 minutes, Then we both hear footsteps. They sounded like bipedal steps, and it walks into our camp and walks nonstop around our tent for an end fire for almost an hour. Now, we've heard these steps for a few minutes, and my son asks, "What is outside?" And I told him it was just a deer or raccoon and he should just go to sleep, which he did in no time. At this point, I was getting scared. I wanted to look out the tent, but if by some chance it was a sow black bear with cubs nearby and she saw me or smelled me, she could be on top of us before I could do anything. Besides, our shotguns, I had a 40 Smith & Wesson on me, but my adrenaline was going crazy at this point, and I knew my shot placement would be anything but accurate. I laid down and put the pistol across my chest, should I need to use it. My heart was absolutely racing after almost an hour. Where was I? I had to look away for a sec. An hour. After almost an hour, the footsteps left the camp and headed back in the direction it came from. I laid there for the next 2 to 3 hours before I finally just fell asleep. The next night, same thing. Dinner, campfire, bed. I pulled the tent closed close to the fire tonight. Just like the night before, bipedal footsteps came our way. My son was asleep in less than 10 minutes, so the steps came into camp and again started walking circles nonstop around the camp. This time I was listening closely, and I know it wasn't a raccoon. I know it wasn't a deer. And I know it wasn't a black bear. My heart was racing, and I can say I felt fear like I've never known. This time it left after about 30 minutes back the way it came. Now, just to be clear, where we were, there are no houses for at least 5 miles. No one lives there. You can hear trucks and cars coming up the road 10 minutes before they get to where you're at. It's a very winding road with steep drop-offs, so you go slow. We had driven around. We were the only ones up there. The next night I was telling some guys at work about it, or the next week I was telling some guys at work about it. No one made fun, but one guy motioned me back to his desk. I walked over and he asked me if I thought it might have been a Sasquatch. I didn't know what to say to that. He told me there are a lot. That said, what? Fly? It was a fly? No, I don't think so. It was too big. Flies are not bipedal. He asked if I thought it might have been a Sasquatch, and I didn't know what to say. He told me there are lots of reports up there, and make no mistake, they exist. He used to live in Alaska when he was younger. Long story short, he had gone fishing with his dad and brother, who was 17, while in Alaska, and they were going down the road, and it was dark. His dad pulled over and told his brother, it should have been his brother, to check on the trailer because he couldn't see the taillights. His brother got out, and I'm assuming hooking up the wiring back in the truck, and he said after maybe a minute, his brother came running back to the truck, screaming and crying, "Go, go, 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 go." His dad took off. Well, they stopped a couple miles down the road and finally got his brother to calm down and talk. And he said when he hooked up the wires and the taillights came on back, maybe 10 feet away, it lit up a Sasquatch. He said it was 9 or 10 feet tall. When all was said and done, he'd lost all control of his bladder and bowels. Fast forward a couple months later, my family and I were at a cookout. My wife was a teacher's assistant, and the teacher and her husband were there. They were both from just north of the Buffalo in Harrison, Arkansas, I guess. AR is Arkansas, right? And I started talking to her husband and asked if he ever spent any time on the buffalo. And he said he did when he was younger, but not in a while. And I asked him if he ever saw a Sasquatch up there, and his eyes got big, and I'd swear the color left his face. He looked scared. He was in the Army at the time. He pulled me aside and asked me why, and I told him my story. And he asked if I was near the cemetery. The cemetery is where we turned off the paved road, and it was just past a bridge that crossed the river. He said he and his brother were headed up there, basically the same area, to deer hunt. And according to him, they went there all the time to hunt. And they were coming across the bridge at around 4 a.m. Something totally black walked across the road in front of them. He said it was huge and made it across the road in 2 or 3 steps. His brother slammed on the brakes and was screaming, "What is that?" They turned around and took off. He said a couple days later they went back in the daytime, and when they got to the bridge again, he noticed the yellow/black striped sign on the guardrails to warn people the road ended and the guardrails began. And he said, whatever it was, they say was every bit as tall as the signs. But when they got out of the truck to look around, he noticed how the signs were at least 9 to 10 feet tall. He's 6'3" and said he couldn't reach the top of the signs flat-footed. After that, he and his brother never hunted the buffalo again. Fast forward to 6 months, and I was at a farm supply store. Outside, they had a big deer blind. It was made to look like a big tree stump. While I was looking inside it, an older man walked up and said, "Those deer will never see you coming in that." And I said I wasn't worried about the deer, just the Sasquatches, and I meant it as a joke. He gets a very serious look and said, "What do you know about that?" I told him my son and I had a weird experience on the buffalo turkey hunting a few months back, and he said, "I've never told anyone this, and I knew the story was going to be good. But several years earlier, he had been bear hunting on the buffalo, and he went every year and was sitting in his tree stand. I asked where on the buffalo he was at. The buffalo is pretty big, and he literally asked me if I know where the cemetery is off the highway, and I said I did. He told me he was a few miles up the road from the cemetery, again, basically the same area my son and I were hunting. In his stand, he heard something coming his way. He could hear footsteps and limbs breaking. He wasn't sure if it was a bear or not, but the sounds got louder and closer. And he said he heard whatever it was walk up to his stand. It was breathing hard and making a huffing sound, almost like when a deer smells you and blows. And he said it was right below me. He could hear it grunting, but nothing was there. He couldn't see anything. After a little while, it walked around his tree a few times, grunting, and then walked off. He said he was so scared he wet himself, but was afraid to leave the stand. So he stayed the night in it, except he didn't sleep. He said at first light, he mustered the courage to get down and ran all the way back to his truck, and he said he was a mile away or so. He quit hunting after that. After my initial conversation with my coworker, I started doing some research/investigating on the internet, and I had no idea about the sightings in Arkansas or in nearby Oklahoma/Missouri. I had seen Boggy Creek, but Sasquatch was not something I was really into. I'm interested now. Wow, that's pretty incredible. And you know, that's
hunter stories. Oh,
yeah,
man, those hunter stories.
And it's funny because these guys are armed, you know. And I don't know, I don't know if any of them were bow hunters. If you're a bow hunter, of course, that's a roll of the dice if you want to try to hit one with a bow, because
good luck.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, I do know that, when you shoot like a log with a bow, I mean, that arrow goes in so much. If with a real compound bow, you'll never get it out. I mean, it's just going to be in there from then, unless you were able to split the wood and get it out that way. But, and much more so for a bullet. So, I mean, there's penetration in both of those. But do you want to roll those dice? Do you want to see if you can make that shot? And honestly, I don't encourage anybody to shoot these things. In all of those cases, if it was an aggressive thing, it would have attacked and would have probably left no witnesses, but they're not. They don't seem to be, generally speaking. There are stories where they act really aggressive and terrifying, but these were pretty benign, really, just walking around the tent. That was it. And that's creepy as hell, though.
I mean, and plus, we've said it before, but for anyone else that hasn't heard this, you don't know if that's the only one out there.
Well, right. Yeah, that's
So
a
if
good
you
point.
take the chance, you might have 3 more on your back. You don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That was a story I heard years ago, where a guy was. There was 3 guys, and they were all going to hunting, and I think it was up in Maine, and they were going up to this remote cabin, and 2 of the guys were there, but they're waiting on the 3rd guy, and he was coming, but he had bought a new rifle, so he stopped by a gravel pit, and decided to sight in his new rifle and stuff. So he started shooting stuff. Well, the friends are up there waiting and waiting and waiting. The guy's not coming, and I don't know if they had cell phones or not. I don't know, but I know that they were very concerned. So they went down and they found his truck parked still in that gravel pit. And they looked around. He wasn't anywhere to be seen. And apparently they looked into the truck, and the guy was folded backwards behind the seat of the pickup truck.
Mm-hmm.
He was folded backwards, like the wrong way, in half, and not alive.
Yeah.
He was unalive. What turned out is that he was apparently target shooting, just sighting in his rifle, when he saw Bigfoot up on the hill and apparently shot one of them. And then they went, I guess they had gone up on the rise, or the police had, and found these weird footsteps with blood, and then they disappeared into the woods. But there was a bigger set of prints apparently that came out, and that's the other one, and it wasn't happy that, maybe its child got shot or whatever, but yeah, it took care of that guy apparently in a really ugly way. I don't remember where I heard that story anymore. I thought maybe it was on Sasquatch Chronicles, but it might have been the Outlaws, Bigfoot Outlaws, with Baron Coonbo from back in the day. But creepy story, very, very creepy story. But
chilling even.
Yeah, but apparently the guy was like folded backwards, so like his spine was broken,
Oh yeah.
to fold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's horrifying. But anyway, is it a true story or not? I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know the people involved, but
it's real enough. For me, it's real enough.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't encourage shooting them, because you might hit one of them, but do you know where the other 3 are that are around you, or the other 2, or even if it's just one more?
14.
Yeah, even just one more.
Ghostbox said 14. 14 of them is even worse.
More.
Yeah, that's even worse. Maybe their packs are generally 14. I don't know, but that's a lot. That's a lot of angry squatches. Either way, folded the wrong way like a taco. Yeah, exactly, Elaine. Yep, absolutely. But very, very weird. SoCal Squatcher says, we even used to swim at Monkey Canyon. Yeah, they call them Monkey Canyon for a reason, because that's where people apparently saw a lot of Sasquatch. That's where those names kind of came from. If you see monkey or devil in any of the names, it probably has to do with the Sasquatch or something worse. And you shouldn't. You should be very careful. I mean, that's what I've heard. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
That's what I've heard. So let's go to the next one from Sasquatch Chronicles. We'll see where we're at with the time, because that was a longer one, but it was a good story. It's already 8:34. Wow. Or for you, Sheldon, 10:34.
The time does fly.
It does. Or 22:34 for you, Sheldon.
That's right. It is 22:34.
All right. The next one is also Sasquatch Chronicles. Today old, February 9th. Strange encounter in Washington State. Here we go. A listener writes, I had an experience in 2022 with a friend of mine. I never really talked about it with anyone till late last year because I just felt crazy. But I think about my experience all the time. Anyway, my friend and I were going up to this logging road called Feeney Cumberland Road. It goes far up into the mountains. And we went up midsummer 2022 to go target practice. I'm not super familiar with guns, but we went to a secluded area where no one else would be there, and it was only one way in or out. We went to a spot where there was a dead end. Anyway, we were target practicing, and I was watching my friend Matt shoot his rifle, and we both had these electronic earmuffs, so we could still hear each other and talk while shooting. And while he was shooting, I heard voices in the woods. Well, I immediately got chills. I didn't say anything at first to my friend, but then it kept going as he was shooting, and I yelled stop. And he did. And I said, do you hear those voices? And they'd stopped right before I yelled, stop. But probably about 30 seconds after he stopped, they started again. And we both immediately got scared and shocked at the same time. Well, the voices weren't clear. It sounded like there were two of them, both males, and it sounded human-like, but it was complete gibberish. We scanned the woods with our rifles. We both had scopes on them and didn't see anything. My friend screamed hello, and he got no reply. And there's no other way for anyone to get where we were unless they took the same road, and we would have seen them come up, considering we were at a dead end. I haven't heard a lot of your podcasts of people experiencing talking in the woods from Sasquatch, but the best way to describe what we heard was the audio of the Sierra sounds, which I'm sure you're familiar with. If you skip to 155 and listen until 201, that's what I heard. And then if you skipped again to 242, it's exactly the same. I was terrified, and I had a horrible feeling that told me to leave. We stayed another 10 minutes and continued target practice, but we heard them again. And my friend told me we need to leave right away. It's like they didn't like us target practicing, but knew that we weren't harming anything, but they definitely didn't want us there. You could feel it. The woods were so thick you can't see more than 15 feet into the woods, and it's so dark. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never been in the Pacific Northwest, even the inland Northwest where I am, these woods are dark. I mean, you can go in the woods in a bright sunny day and it's like late afternoon in those woods. It's a whole different thing. Those conifer trees just suck all the light out of them.
Really? That dark, huh?
Well, you've been up here. You went mushroom hunting with us.
I don't remember it. I just don't remember. I mean, you might be right. I just don't recall being that dark.
No, the part where we were at, and that's right, where we were wasn't that thick. But if you get up into the mountains, really up in there, I mean, it's like I've been in parts of these mountains that you could hide a Tyrannosaurus Rex 10 feet away and you wouldn't know it. I mean, it's those pine trees, conifer trees. Just, I mean, they have these, they run into each other, so there's like no space, and it's just all darkness beyond, even in the daytime. So, it's really creepy.
Probably insulates sound too. Well, to an extent, right?
To some degree, sure. I'm sure. I mean, you still can hear around you, but you just can't see, and that's really makes you uncomfortable. But the last paragraph of the story is, I just remember scanning the woods while my friend packed everything up. I was so terrified, but when I think about it, I get goosebumps every single time I remember those voices. So clear to this day. And I've always wanted to go back to the mountain and try to hear them again, but I'm also so terrified. I haven't gone back since then, but my friend has, and he never experienced anything like that before, but has seen black bears and cougars, but nothing like what we had experienced. Anyway, thanks for your podcast. I've always been so fascinated with Sasquatch, and I used to watch Finding Bigfoot as a kid. I've always believed, and now I definitely 100% know that they are out there. Thanks for all you post. Helps me feel less crazy listening to other experiencers. And that's true. I mean, so many times when I've talked to people, it's like, I'm just so glad to find your show, because, I can't talk to anybody. Nobody I know will talk about this kind of stuff. And so, it does give people an outlet just to hear other people's experiences and know you're not alone. I think that's the big thing. It's just, I think a lot of times people feel really isolated when they've experienced all this weirdness, whether it's a Sasquatch, a dogman, or even ghosts or, UFO stuff. You just feel like it's just you, because most people don't talk a lot about this stuff. But I think that's changing, though.
It is. I absolutely. I mean, it's becoming more and more and more mainstream the more time goes by, and that's great. It really is. Little by little, maybe baby steps, but it is happening more and more and more, and I'm really happy about that, because especially for those people that have these terrifying experiences, I can imagine how isolating that might be, especially if you don't have a lot of circles that believe in these kind of things and maybe laugh at you like you're crazy, or feel afraid that they'll be laughed at.
Right. Right. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, God only knows, but but just knowing that there's other people out there and that you're sharing an experience rather than just bearing the weight of it alone. So I think that's a healing thing all by itself. Let's see, where am I? All right, we're going to this one. All right, here we go. This is still the cryptid corner, obviously, but this is not really cryptid, but it's going over to Phantoms and Monsters. How's the time? It is actually 8:40, so we'll probably have time for this one and maybe one more if they're short. But this one was interesting to me, and I thought, God, we got to discuss this because this is, I don't know if anything happened for me that was unusual, but at any rate, the story is from phantomsandmonsters.com. This is Lon Strickler's site, great site. Help support him. Visit Phantoms and Monsters. There's tons of encounter stories over there. There's Lon's published works and links to his podcast, Phantoms and Monsters Radio, which is also on YouTube. So check out his YouTube channel. And, when he gets a live stream, show up unless the portal's on.
That's right. That's right.
Unless the portal's on. So got to show up for the portal first. You can watch his replay. No, I'm just kidding. Lon's a friend of the show. He's been on several times, and he's just a very, very interesting guy. Really been at this for decades. So here we go. 58 likes. Great job, everybody. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, here we go. February 9th. Worldwide time slip? ? What happened on the evening of January 27th, 2024? This year. I don't know that anything happened for me, but I haven't read this article yet, so let's see what it says. From the Facebook group Mandela Effect Glitch in the Matrix, this account was forwarded to me by my researcher friend C. Radu. And I've come across several accounts of people who say that on the evening of January 27th, 2024, something strange happened in the world, as if there was a slip of time almost globally. Several people say that time dissolved for several hours. Was it a secret experiment? And here's the original post from January 28th, 2024 that started it all. I swear me and my boyfriend lost time last night. I got home around 9:15 with food. I know the time because I texted my boyfriend at 8:41 asking what he wanted from Wendy's. Oh, I love Wendy's. I wish I wasn't on a diet. I was hungry and ate as soon as I came home while reading the Facebook News tab. Next thing I know, my boyfriend is freaking out because it's 12:10 a.m. and he's saying there's just no way that much time passed. He had been downstairs in the kitchen cleaning a little bit from the mess he made earlier. Then I'm also freaking out because I'm still eating my food. I know I eat slow, but not that slow. It's so freaking weird and I can't explain it. There's no way I would have spent that much time reading news headlines and maybe skimming a few articles. Facebook News doesn't even have that much news, LOL. He definitely wouldn't take 3 hours cleaning the kitchen. It's tiny. And all he had to do was run the dishwasher and wipe the counter. It was 12:10 a.m. when it should have been 10 p.m. in the absolute latest. I would have been eating really cold food if it took me 3 hours to finish it. It was just a cheeseburger and medium fries. And what's even more crazy is I had a Frosty that wasn't even melted. It was just like it was always is after maybe 20 minutes, just a little bit melted right around the top. How would it not completely be melted if it was sitting out for 3 hours? I'm stumped. Never had anything like this happen before, and it happened to both of us. And we kept talking about it because we were so shocked. We don't use any substances and we don't drink either, so we're completely clear-minded and fully aware. Has anyone else had this happen before? And these comments followed the post. Happened to me tonight. I relaxed after preparing dinner and I checked my emails, mostly deleting junk. I looked at my watch. It was 20:33, another 24-hour person, which is 8:33. And we were going to watch a family movie. Then I took a shower and I went out and it was 00:18. So basically 12:18 in the morning. I didn't even wash my hair. My child and fiance told me that time seemed to fly by. Next one, I went to the kitchen last night at around 20:30 to get some popcorn and put on a movie. I remember looking at the clock. I watched 2 episodes of my show, which are about 45 minutes each, no commercials. I came back to the kitchen. It was almost 12:30. I live alone, and I actually said out loud, "What the hell?" I live in Canada near Toronto, Ontario. Next one, I'm in the UK and had a very similar thing happen to me last night with very oddly close timing. I'm absolutely amazed. For me, it was 20:45, and then suddenly, 30 minutes later, it was 00:20. This one, the same thing happened to me in the same time frame. On Saturday evening, January 27th, 2024, between 20:30 and 00:15. I live in Northwest Australia, and I believe there is at least a 12-hour time difference between the United States and Western Australia. I don't know why these weird time slips occur, but this isn't the first time I've noticed this. Next one, I seriously wonder if anything happened in our time zone last night. I live in Massachusetts. I texted 2 friends at the same time. The last message being around 8:40 p.m. I watched a movie with my husband and daughter, and I thought it was strange that both friends didn't answer me. Then I woke up a little after midnight to my phone notifications about 6 times, all of which were replies from my 2 friends. I spoke to them this morning and told them it was so strange that they responded at the same time so many hours later, and both insisted they responded immediately shortly after 8:30 p.m. Next one, this is so weird because I just looked through all my messages from last night, January 27th, and couldn't find any between 2000 hours and midnight. All my conversations stopped suddenly, but after midnight they started up again. I remember being on the phone with almost constantly last night. And he says, these are a few of the messages, but many have experienced something like this. What follows from all this? On the evening of January 27th, Saturday, some people apparently experienced a time-slipping phenomena, as if time completely disappeared for 2 to 3 hours. Interestingly, electronics, mobile phones were also affected, so it cannot be said that it was only a psychological phenomena on a mental level. What happened then? Was a scientific experiment done in the greatest secrecy? Has time travel or teleportation been attempted, which also affected our physical reality? Because it seems that the phenomena has affected the whole globe from the U.S. to Great Britain and Australia. Yeah, that's fascinating. What do you think of that, Sheldon?
Very curious. Well, my first question is that has anyone else, even in our chat, experienced anything like this?
Yeah, have any of you guys had anything weird like that happen on January 27th?
Personally, I did not. Well, actually, wait a minute. It was a Saturday. Let's see. It was a Saturday. Hard for me to tell because when I'm playing video games, time flies by anyway. So.
Oh, sure.
I'm not a good example.
Sure. And honestly, I don't know. I didn't notice anything weird for me personally. So maybe they just finally made it to our level. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, I'm wondering if any of you have had any weird experiences like that.
Yeah. L Android coming in with the 199. Thank you.
Thank you, Android. 60 plus likes and 74 live viewers. Woo woo.
Oh, you're rocking tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to see everybody coming in. Thank you all so much. And please, if you like the show or you're interested in what's going on here, subscribe.
Yeah.
Ring the bell. We'd love to have you stick around and be part of the family. The fam.
Come on, lurkers. Come on, lurkers.
It's okay to lurk. It's fine. Some people aren't chatters. There's a Yowie sighting in Maggie saying in Australia, around a golf course here somewhere too, from kids collecting golf balls. They had gone off course. Yeah, that's really cool. So anybody have any weird stuff like that? No.
Leslie Reloaded. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Putting your dog down, that's a heartbreaker. God. That's a tough one. Really, really tough. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Just Info says he can't remember. I don't remember anything either. No strange time slipping from Rachel. So any of you in the comments, if you're watching this when it's not live, did you notice anything on January 27th like that from 8 p.m. through where you just kind of skip right to midnight and you don't know how you got there? So I think that's interesting. It's a very odd phenomena, but for so many people to experience it. Again, a lot of times people attribute those things as, well, they're memory glitches.
Yeah.
Android says, I go into a time slip every time I open TikTok. Yeah,
Yep.
amen. Yep. I mean, YouTube, TikTok, all of those. It's just easy to, how much hours is gone? It just makes you feel guilty guilty as hell because you want to be productive. You want to use the time well, but then, then you look down and you've been surfing YouTube for 4 hours. It's like, no, but it's easy to do. It's very, very easy just to keep clicking. I went to bed at 9 on 127/24.
Oh,
SoCal.
In a way, that's a time slip.
Yeah, that's a different kind. Yeah, absolutely. Like every other night. Well, there you go.
There we go.
I'm glad you stayed up tonight. That's good.
Yeah.
Or you mean you go right to bed after the show? Is that what you're saying? What time? What? SoCal. That's California. That's the same time zone. Ah, I gotcha. Yep. 9 p.m. I guess it's right after the show. Well, I'm glad you stay up for the show. That's really cool. That's wonderful. But, I don't have time to get into another story. So we're just going to talk to you now. I think the time slips are a real phenomena. Again, they a lot of people attribute them. Oh, it's a memory glitch. It's a memory glitch. But, I don't believe that. I don't believe that everybody, so many people, and it's like the Mandela effects. It's a memory glitch. It's a memory glitch. And no, I don't think so. If it was one person having one experience seeing, well, that didn't used to say that. It used to say this. But it says something different to them now. But it's entire segments of the population. So that's not just a memory glitch. If it was one person, okay, maybe it's a memory glitch. Yeah. But when it's whole segments of populations from around the world remembering something differently, then it's not a memory glitch. It's something else. Mm-hmm. It really has to be. No, the show is nearly over. There was definitely a time slip the last 2 hours, Brent.
Oh, it says, you're right. True.
Absolutely right. There definitely is portal time is different. You're absolutely right. This does go really, really, really quickly. And I'm not even used to it after doing it for 8 years, honestly. This is our 8th year, Sheldon.
That's crazy. Time is flown.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I've earned every one of those years. I mean,
you definitely have.
Yeah, but it is a labor of love. I love doing the shows, and I love when people show up and enjoy themselves. That to me is everything. So I hope you all have enjoyed our journey tonight and feel like this was time well spent. That maybe you learned a few things. Maybe it's just food for thought. Maybe you're thinking about some of this stuff a little differently, maybe not, maybe you already were there, but we just love discussing ideas on the portal. I mean, if you're new to the show, we try to have, take it light and have fun, because again, the paranormal is dark enough all by itself, and there's some shows out there that are real broody and dark, and they try to get into character, and that's okay. I mean, to each their own, but I just like to just kick back and relax. Renee says, saw an orange UFO orb with one headlight. Broadway in Columbus. Oh, it's flying now. Fight the good fight. Think good thoughts. Keep having fun. Be the change you want to see in the world. UFO world. Renee.
Yes.
Renee, you are just incredibly interested in UFOs. I'll have to dig up some more UFO stories for tomorrow night for you. Brent's road construction theory got me really thinking tonight. Oh, cool. Yeah, I just wonder because... and maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. But when we tear up houses, we definitely find out something's going on.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe when you tear up roads, you find out something's going on too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or even Earth. Maybe even, Earth. Like you think of sacred sites. I'm sure we've built on many sacred sites to the First Nations tribes. And maybe some of this weirdness is part of that. They had areas that they would only enter in deep reverence, and now we put parking lots on them. It's really tragic.
That's a good point.
Yes, thank you, and Breldon. That was Brenton.
Breldon. Breldon.
We are Breldon.
Breldon.
Yeah, that's my palate tonight. It's just hardly keeping up. Thanks, Brenton Sheldon. Thank you for a fun one tonight. You're welcome, SoCal. It's great to see you. And thank you, Brenton Sheldon, for another stellar show. Aw.
You guys can just call us Breldon. That's okay. I'm taking a liking to that.
I'm not as much. No, I mean it's quirky and weird, but that's just my face.
It's like Venom. We are Breldon.
Yeah. Instead of we are Legion, we are Breldon. Yeah. There you go, folks. Another one of my dorky gaffes. There's always those here too. I mean, I'm really just an idiot with a microphone, but I love talking to you guys all the same. So I don't know. We just love to have
agree.
fun.
You know what, Android? I agree with that. I'm naming my child Breldon as well.
You're gonna name him Breldon. Yeah, that'll be a unique name for sure. Yeah.
Maggie, thank you for the 5. Oh my God,
Woo,
thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Brendan. Yeah, there could be Brendan. Yep.
Ah, Brendan. Hey,
Brendan.
look at that.
Yep.
Wait,
And then,
we already have Sheldon.
yeah, you guys have got to do it.
Sheldon.
You and Don got to do a show so you can do Sheldon.
Sheldon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you the mic for a night. You can take over.
Oh my God.
But I think that's basically going to be our journey tonight. It's literally a minute to go. Sheldon, how do people stay in touch with us?
Well, the best way is going to be to visit the home base, paranormalportal.net as well. And so I'll just throw in a link to the Discord if you guys want to join the community there. Lots of great posts, lots of great people all in one.
And if you join, you can qualify for a t-shirt giveaway. It's going to happen this next week. So the end of next week, we're going to do the giveaway. I'm giving a good week of sign up time for people to go, oh yeah, include me. So Breldon is good for the 3 of you. Breldon. Yeah, I guess it is, isn't it?
Oh,
good
Breldon.
Point.
Oh my God.
Breldon. Yep.
We are Breldon.
We are Breldon. The Paranormal Portal is Breldon.
I love it. I love it so much.
Good points. Well, there you go, folks. That's going to about wrap it up for us tonight. So remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll be back tomorrow night. Just me and you guys. Maybe Jimmy will join me. And we'll see. I think he's available. So I'll drag Jimmy into the portal with me. So we'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on YouTube and Twitch, and listening live on TFR. So it's all your choice. All right. Good night, everybody. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.
Good night.